Jason Norlen.
Speak up.
I'm Jason Norlen, General Manager at Heber Light Power. I'm going to talk on needs and necessity, and Harold Wilson, the Operation Manager for Heber Light Power, will talk about the line itself. We started down this process years ago. We got the 2 conditional uses down Highway 40 back in 2014. And the reason for that is because Heber Light Power has run out of capacity on their system. Out over on the Midway point of interconnect with the Rocky Mountain Power System, and it just should be noted, the Rocky Mountain Power is our transmission provider. So we have projects throughout the state, even up in Idaho, power production projects. And Rocky Mountain Power wheels that energy to us over their bulk transmission system. Our point of interconnect is in Midway, right above the cemetery. And the capacity at our point of interconnect is 49 megawatts. At 49, 50 megawatt range. And we're currently at 40 megawatts of system load. That's what we hit this year. So, years ago, back 2011, 2012, we sent a letter with our joint action agency, which is UAMS, which we're a member of, and to Rocky Mountain Power, asking for a second point of interconnect so that we could rebuild our point of interconnect in Midway. From that time, we have been working with them to get that second point of interconnect. Second point of interconnect is planned to be built by the Ray Farrell Power Plant. They're at about 735 East, 300 South. And we work with the county on that. County's our neighbor right there. And that's also where our power plant substation is, and where both of our north transmission line and our south transmission line interconnect with a switch yard. Those decisions were made long ago as to where that north and south corridors were into the Heber City Load Center. And so we're also needing to rebuild our south transmission line. Our south transmission line is the route we're following from that 735 West 300 South location there in Heber. And we are proposing replacing the poles, which are, that line was built 78, 80 time frame. It's 4-aught conductor, and it needs upgraded. It's got about 29 megawatts of capacity on it. And so it will not pack our whole system. If something happens to our north line, the south line won't pack the whole system. We would have to shed load in order to pack the system on that south line. So it does need rebuilt. And that's what we are proposing, is rebuilding it. Pole for pole, all the way back over to Midway. And build that second point of interconnect substation there by the power plant. That will give us a lot of flexibility and a lot more capacity. That'll get us from, as far as our 46 kV system, it'll take us from that 29 megawatts of load on that south line to 63 megawatts, 65 megawatts of load on that south line. And we will build that new interconnect substation to handle about 100 megawatts of load. Like I said, we're currently at 40 and we're growing rapidly. The growth has been pretty good the last 20 years in the Heber Valley, and we're needing to increase our critical line in order to serve that load. And we need Rocky Mountain Power to go into that second point of interconnect because they are our transmission provider. And by them coming into that second point of interconnect and also connecting their transmission system that's over in Midway, now we've got a loop 138 kV system. So if there's a fire in Provo Canyon, we can feed from the north. If something happens to the north, car hits pole, landslide, many things are at risk with these things. We can then feed from the south. It also gives us the ability to split our loads, meaning, everything over on the west side of the river in the Midway kind of Charleston area can feed off that Midway point of interconnect, and then all of the Heber and east loads, the Timber Lakes, can feed off of the north point of interconnect. It gives us a lot more resiliency, and it also gives us, with resiliency comes increased reliability. But it's the real capacity need that is, really what we need. We need more capacity into the system. And with that, I'll let Harold kind of go over the line project as we're proposing.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you for having us. Harold Wilson, Operations Manager, Heber Light and Power. As Jason stated, we started down this road many years ago. We have been directed by our board of directors, as well as many political bodies within the county, and received input from them. We knew we had to give from one place to another, and we were directed to follow transportation corridors and existing lines. Those were basically the parameters in which we were given to get from point A to point B. We have drawn countless lines on maps with different scenarios in place to get from point A to point B. And the route that we're presenting tonight, we feel is the best one we have come up with to this point. As Jason stated, this is a load-driven project. We are a growing utility, and we grow more and more every day, and we have a duty and are directed that we need to and have to serve the load of our customers. And that is what we're here to do. We have, as I said, spent countless hours looking over it. Doug has done a great job laying out our routing. I have personally went to Midway City Council on 2 different occasions and gave this proposal. I gave it to Planning Commission twice on when we received conditional use permits on the other section. When we gave those presentations, we talked about the whole project. We weren't ready to go with the whole project for numerous reasons, but we talked about it each and every time that was our direction and our goal and where we needed to go. This is a job that Jason and I and all of the people at Heber Light and Power take very seriously, and we put a lot of time and effort and take pride in what we do. We ask for input and we take it. My door has been open, and many people who are there tonight have been to my office and visited with me. Many have not, but it's there and it's always going to be there. But as far as the line goes, We have done our very best to site it in a place where we feel best serves the needs of all of our customers. And we have, just over 12,000 meters on our system, and we have to think about each and every one of them when we do this. From a financial perspective, to a service perspective, to a reliability perspective.
Harold, there's been some activity out here on the other side of town. Got a big drill going on out there. Is that part of the poles that are coming along 40 already?
Yes, sir. We have a 46 kV line that presently runs to our college substation. Over the past years, we have been rebuilding that line because of the construction. The type of construction that was placed out there was not conducive to the environment that it has been placed in. Because of the corrosiveness of the highway, the dust, the salt, the moisture, and the contaminants, the construction style that was placed out there doesn't work. We were having flashovers on our insulators and outages to our customers. That's what initially sparked part of this project, was to start rebuilding that line. And that is the second phase of rebuilding that line, is to be able to bring that up to where it needs to be to operate efficiently and effectively, so we can bring our energy into our valley and serve our customers.
Are you talking about the existing poles that are up there now, the large ones? They're not working out?
No, the large ones are, sir. That was the first section of we did it in 2 phases because, we're not a big company. We had to do it in phases to afford it. Sure. And we did that first phase, and now we're doing the second phase of that.
Okay, but the big ones are okay. It's
Absolutely.
the other stuff. I got
Absolutely.
it. Thanks.
So you'll come to there where they actually turn to go through the bypass.
Correct.
And then
And the conditional use permit we're, here to ask for tonight picks up at that location and follows the routing which Doug has laid out.
So looking at that route, it looks to me like you've got poles already existing on most of that route. I drove it the other day, including the midway sections, all of it, and it looked to me like there's already, other than the north field part here on the bypass, you had poles already existing in a right-of-way.
Yes, sir. We had a transmission line, which we refer to as our south line. It was built, Jason said, between 78 and 80. That line was built back then to handle 29 megawatts, and my guess is when they built it, they thought that was all that would ever be needed in this valley. And it can't pack half our system today. So we were following that existing route that was laid out back then across the valley to our Midway substation.
And is that a prescriptive easement, or is that?
That is a prescriptive easement.
And how wide is that?
It is a center line easement.
So it's center line?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Harold. Any other questions for Jason or Harold?
Harold, what do you anticipate is going to be the timing on the build-out of this?
Timing on the build-out, excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Timing on the build-out, we are projecting to have completion, if all goes as, planned, and everybody knows how plans are, they change in a hurry, but our hope is to be completed by fall of 19. Yes, sir.
With the new plan, without putting poles in there, could you put it underground?
Are you asking if it could be put underground, is that what I said?
Yeah.
There are places in the world that it is put underground, but the cost is so prohibitive that it makes it to where we can't financially do it.
I heard earlier that on that same question, that probably the citizens of Wasatch County would probably have to, if it did go underground, would have to step up and pay that extra cost. Is that what you heard, or?
I heard that in Doug's comments. I can't comment to that. I'm not a legal expert and don't claim to be.
Okay. Go ahead.
When you talked about the direction you received with these
Could you speak up, please? I can't hear you.
Okay. When you received direction to put these lines and the proposed system into existing right-of-ways, transportation right-of-ways, Who did you receive that direction from?
Hey, that one. There we go.
That means they're on.
You got it now, Travis.
Who was that?
I believe it was in 2006, Summit County, Wasatch County, and the utilities in the areas met in what they referred to as a, I don't even remember how they met. They put together a task force that talked about energy corridors and the growing area of Wasatch and Summit counties. Within that plan and within that task force, they laid out that all transmission and power lines that to be built should be placed within transportation corridors or existing right-of-ways. So we took that direction. Then we've also received the same direction from all of our board members on Heber Light and Power's board, as well as meeting with county officials and city officials, that that's where they would like to see these. They didn't want to see us out, cutting across hillsides and through open fields. They wanted us to go where, like I said, existing corridors or planned corridors, and keep these lines in those areas. Power lines are, whether any of us like to believe it or not, are a lifeblood of who we are as a civilization. And they've got to go somewhere. Yes, sir.
How low could you have your power poles to still move that much power you're trying to do? Why do they have to be as large as they are, or could you come down on that?
There's multiple reasons for the height of the poles. We're regulated by NEC standards, which is the National Electric Code. Those standards are set in place pertaining to and taking into account many things. Personal safety of those working on them is number one in the NEC. Anyone having to do maintenance on them, they want them safe for those individuals. Two, it's safety of citizens. So they need the spacing and that for the public. And three, and believe it or not, they take into account wildlife and avian. We have to have those types of clearances for the avian protection plans that are in place throughout the United States. Those are the three main factors that go into that. I'm sure there are countless others when you get into engineering and different things like that, but I'm not an expert in that. But those are the things that we take into account for when we design these. We have designed these as low as we can. We take this very seriously. I meet with these people on different projects, and that's the first thing I talk to them about is we've got to control height. And that's what we've tried to do on this.
So what is the lowest height that you can move the amount of power? And then the second question for you is, you're currently at 40 and it goes to 49. With moving these poles to the height that you want, what are you taking that to now? What's going to be the new power? How much are you taking that
to? We're taking the south line. We'll take the south line to 63 megawatts roughly, and then we'll have 63 megawatts. And this is on peak. You got to understand there's big math equation here. That's like hottest day of the year type number. So 63 megawatts, and our north line can do 63 megawatts. So we've got room to grow. We're at 40 megawatts now. This summer we're projecting to be at the 42, 43 megawatt type range. And so we really need this built out by 2021, 2022, depending on growth. At that point, we're coming up to some really tough decisions for those 10 hottest days of the year. We just keep growing. The charts are incredible as far as how quick we're growing as a utility. We're estimating 3 to 4%, kind of growth as a conservative, in our charts, and it's not uncommon for us to hit years of 6 to 8% growth. And so, as far as charting out when we run out of capacity, we're using conservative numbers, and that's 2022. If we get a big year, this project really needs done. We're to the point where it has to be done.
So, and then what is the least height that you can accept if to do this project? Does it have to be, I think we're looking at 100, you're going to 110?
Yeah. You know, a lot of that depends on location and topography of the ground. I think if it's, you know, like level and flat, we're looking in that 75 to 80 range. But when we come into those corner structures and those dead-end structures, we have to go taller to maintain the spacing.
Thank you.
I have a question because I know it's going to come, all right? And based on, you know, what I'm reading and the people that are concerned about this is what are the options, and we talked about burying, and so the question's going to come. You say it's cost prohibitive. How much? Have you analyzed how much it will cost?
There's a lot of money that needs to be spent to analyze what it costs.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Hold it down, you'll have your turn.
so it hasn't. You probably have some familiarity based on your experience as the manager.
In industry standard, we do not bury our transmission.
Okay.
We have never buried our transmission.
So yeah, do you have any idea how much?
Heber, light, and power. The estimates are, you know, 4 to 7 times. You know, that's what industry estimates are.
So 4 to 7 times what?
4 to 7 times the cost of going overhead.
And what is the cost of going overhead?
About $1 million to 1.2 million a mile.
Okay, that's helpful because you're going to get asked that.
Yeah, no, we have.
Okay. So $1 million to $1.2 million a mile?
Correct. That's what the last 2 miles on Highway 40 have ran, roughly.
Okay. And you think 4 to 7 times? Okay, great, thanks.
Okay? Do we have any other questions for Harold or Jason? Seeing none, thanks, Jason. Thanks, Harold. We may have you back in a few minutes. Thank you. Okay,